So you talked about different types of therapies, and there's occupational therapy, there's physical therapy, there's speech therapy. You said educational therapy.
Mhm.
Can you broke down educational therapy? Can you break down a little bit the other types of therapies that there are, and then how do
Mhm.
we know if we don't have somebody to tell us? How do we know which
Right.
types of therapy our child might be in need of?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can always go to a diagnostician or a psychologist or educational psychologist that can give a more advanced diagnoses, and
Okay.
they can actually break those down for you. Those tests are quite expensive. I will just warn you ahead of time. But if it's something that you really feel like this is going to help my teaching, it is worth the investment.
Okay.
And it is an investment. Physical therapy is basically the movement of the body, muscles, and just usually for kids who have limited mobility, a lot of times a physical therapist, and you see a lot of elderly doing physical therapy or
Hmm.
after surgeries.
Yeah.
So that's the types of things, just stretching, especially if a child's in a wheelchair. Those are things. But again, you can do these stretches at home. My
Yeah.
parents
Right.
did this with my siblings. I know this. But occupational therapy it can get down to handwriting, pencil grip. It has more to do with the mechanics of how you function and just your body functions with different environments.
Okay.
Speech therapy, of course, is speech, but it is also has to do with everything that with verbalization with the mouth,
Hmm.
and some speech therapists also get into using the devices for communication if a child is nonverbal. And so learning how to use those communication devices sometimes is their area too. And then we have like sensory therapists. A lot of times they are also physical therapists, but they help kids on the spectrum who have sensory issues and do sensory integration. And so there's a variety of different things. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
It's so interesting. My girls have not needed, any serious therapy for anything, but Lacey, my youngest, when she was little, she could not pronounce her R's. She could
Mm.
not say any word with the letter R and be able to pronounce it properly. And so, like, her sister's name is Brooklyn, and so she couldn't
Oh, that's
say
hard. Yeah.
Brooklyn; it was Booklyn.
Hmm.
And so my best friend's mom is a speech therapist. She has been for many years, and so I remember we did a Zoom call because she lived, several hours away from me. And she said, let's
Hmm.
do a Zoom call. I just want to just observe her and do some, just quick little, exercises with her and see where she's
Yeah.
at. And she was,
Hmm.
I think Lacey was 5 at the time when we did this. And I was getting so nervous because I thought, oh no, what if she never learns how to pronounce her R's?
Hmm.
And so she did these exercises with her. And it was the funniest thing. She said, 7.5. At 7.5 years old, she'll have her R's. And I was like, 7.5? I mean, that's so specific. Like,
Uh-huh.
how do you know 7.5? She said, trust me, by 7.5, she'll have her R's. If she doesn't, then you might want to consider speech therapy, so that she doesn't grow up, to be an adult who can't pronounce her R's.
Hmm.
I'm not kidding you. It was like 7.5 to the day almost. I mean, all of a sudden, one day she was pronouncing all of her words with the letter R properly. And I realized it. It had maybe been a couple days that she had been doing it, but I realized it one day, and I'm counting the months and I was like, she's 7.5 years old. I mean, it was so
Oh,
just astounding to me that that she knew. And so it's neat because these therapists oftentimes they know, especially if they're very experienced, like my
hmm.
friend's mom,
Right.
they really do know exactly where these kids are and how to get them to where they need to be.
Hmm.
But it seems that you would need to find a therapist that would work really well hand in hand with mom and dad to be able
Yes.
to provide. And like you're saying, that's
Hmm.
why you don't want to stick them in a public school system and just say,
Yep.
here, have at them and let the system decide what's best for your child. Because you as the
Hmm.
parent, you know what's best for them. You just might not know how to get there.
Right. Yeah. And that's why using a therapist for a short period of time, not, you don't think that, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to pay for these services for years.
Right.
No, you can pay for 1 or 2 sessions, get what you
Yeah.
need out of it. And if you feel like it's a good investment, then yes, you can continue, but you are not married to this therapist. You don't have to
Yes.
continue to use them.
Right. And if you have a therapist who's maybe not a good fit for your child or for you,
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure there are other options to find one that is a better. I think oftentimes as parents, we tend to think, oh, this is what my only option is. And so I'm just going to go with this one. And we forget to remember that there are other options. There are other people who do the same thing who might be a better fit or, just be able to relate to your child a little bit better than this other person. Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.